High retention rate is one thing all YouTubers strive for, but struggle to achieve. In this video, I'm going to give you all of my editing knowledge in a 4-step formula that makes viewers addicted to your videos and forces them to watch all the way to the end. The editing style that you choose directly influences how your video will perform. You can have the best editing in the world, but if it doesn't resonate with your audience, then your videos are doomed to fail. You need to consider what your audience is expecting when they click on your video. Let's take a look at this first example by Emma Chamberlain. There's a whole minute before you even see Emma on the screen, and another 6 seconds before she even speaks. And the rest of the video is just her lying in bed telling stories with a little bit of B-roll over the top. Most people would say this is lazy and would never perform very well, yet this video has 2.1 million views. This editing style works time and time again for Emma Chamberlain because her audience wants an authentic experience where they just feel like they're hanging out with a friend. If Emma were to go down the MrBeast route with fast cuts and super stimulating editing, it would ruin the authentic experience that her audience came for. And disrupting what the viewer came for is a surefire way to get them to click off. So if both of these editing styles work, what should you do? Well, take a look at what other creators similar to you are doing. Are you on the MrBeast side with super stimulating editing and entertainment is king? Or are you on the Emma Chamberlain side where authenticity takes the cake? Or maybe you're somewhere in the middle like Ryan Trahan with a perfect balance of entertainment and authenticity. An effective edit takes all of these choices into account. So as we go through the video, take notes on what you should add to your videos, keeping in mind what suits your audience best. Many people skip out on the basics of editing and just go straight for the fun, complicated stuff. But if you don't know the basics and how they affect your edit, your videos are doomed from the start. No amount of fancy visuals will save you. But what are the basics and how do you use them? Storytelling. Crafting a story that resonates with the viewer is your main job as an editor. There are a million ways to tell a story, and I'm not going to go through all of them here, but just think about it like this. Every cut you make needs to move the story forward. Take this MrBeast video for example. They start off with telling you exactly what the video is about.
The ocean, and we're going to be stranded here for the next 7 days.
The next shot sets up some stakes with the only boat leaving. Then we have a little comedic break for some rhythmic variety.
Why do we keep doing this? I thought it'd be fun.
The next shot gives you an idea of how hard the challenge will be. Then we hear Jimmy saying it gets dark soon and they have to build a shelter, which raises the stakes.
And we only have around 4 hours until it gets dark. We need to build a shelter immediately.
Then we set up the next scene with an explanation on how they're going to set up camp. They start collecting materials and immediately raise the stakes again with a poisonous tree.
But we had to be careful because above you is the most dangerous tree on Earth. It contains poisonous tree sap that could literally kill you.
And this is just the first 45 seconds of the video. Every single cut has a motivation behind it and all works to drive the story forward. This is how you have to think when you're editing. That means even if you've got an amazing drone shot that you think is really cool, if it doesn't serve a purpose and drive the story forward, don't use it. But story isn't the only thing that makes a great edit. Rhythm. Rhythm helps set the tone and energy of a scene. A fast build-up of rhythm will rise the intensity of a scene, while a slower rhythm of cuts will bring the energy down and let the scene breathe. A good variety of rhythm is one of the most powerful tools for retention. Emotion. Emotion is one of the most powerful tools to immerse your viewers in the video. There are many ways to portray emotion in your videos, but the most powerful by far is with your music choices. We'll expand more on this later. These are the 3 main pillars that build up your whole video, and every single cut you make should directly relate to at least one of these pillars. But these 3 pillars would be nothing without the footage that goes along with them. A-roll. This is where you can both hear and see your main subject. A-roll feels very personal and is great for holding your viewers' attention when you're saying something important. B-roll. This is extra footage recorded separately. It creates a visual representation of the audio and allows you to get your point across much more clear and in a more engaging way than just looking at your face talking. B-roll can consist of footage you filmed yourself, stock footage, or motion graphics. But constantly cutting between clips all the time can become very confusing. To avoid this, here's some more things that help create a clean, engaging edit without creating visual mush. J-cuts and L-cuts. The J-cut is where the audio of the next clip starts playing before the video. The L-cut is where the audio of one clip overlaps into the next clip. While these aren't exactly a visual aid, they make your cuts a lot cleaner and less jarring, which leads to higher retention. Use slow zooms to create some visual variety, or faster zooms to highlight areas of the video or tell the viewer what you're saying is important. Static shots can become very boring, so try adding some movement with a camera shake preset. Camera shakes also work great for images and captions. Speaking of captions, while they're a great visual aid, you shouldn't add them just for the sake of visual variety. Use captions sparingly and when you really want your viewer to focus on what you're saying. Now let's say you need to show a screenshot of something. Showing the full image is not only boring, but also super confusing. To get rid of any confusion, try these things. Shift the hue to green, it gives the image a positive feeling, or shift it to red and it gives a negative feeling. Zoom into the area you want to show. You can also use highlights, outlines, glows, and arrows. This last step is one of the most important rules for making a cut. See if you can spot the mistake with this cut. See how jarring that felt? On the last frame, the audience is looking right here. And on the very next frame, the audience is expected to look all the way over here. If your viewer is always having to look all over the screen, it becomes super tiring and will make them want to click away. Now, this doesn't mean that every single cut has to be in the same eye line. Breaking the visual continuity can be a great way to jolt your viewer back to attention. And if it's not possible to make a clean cut with the same eye line, you can always use a transition to make that cut way less jarring. Now that you've got your visuals done perfectly, you've got a 100% completed edit, right? Wrong. Visuals are only half of the video, and arguably the less important half. Let's say you need to show a small image on screen. It can't just pop in out of nowhere with no explanation of how it got there. If you animate the image in, you can use a whoosh sound effect. If the image just pops in, you can use a pop sound effect or this shutter sound. Whenever something new happens on screen, there should be a sound effect to go with it. Sound design is how you explain what's happening on screen and immerse your viewers in the video. But that's not the only way to use sound design. Risers. These build tension and anticipation and let your viewers know that something important is about to happen. Impacts. These release tension and emphasize those important moments. Impacts and rises are also great to highlight comedic moments. Drones. Use these to create a feeling of mystery and suspense. These three sound effects transform your edit and force your viewers to keep watching. They work so well because they tap into the viewer's emotions, and the more emotionally invested someone is, the more engaged they are. But sound design is only a small step in tapping into your audience's emotions. This next step is a full-on emotional hack. The music you choose directly influences how your viewers are feeling while watching your video. For example, I've chosen music that creates a feeling of intrigue and anticipation, which makes a viewer feel like I'm about to say something really important. Then, when the really important information starts, I use music that creates a feeling of excitement to really hook the viewer and tell them they should listen to every single word. This music works perfectly for my videos, but wouldn't work for someone like Mr. Beast, where the energy is way more intense and high action. Choosing the right music is so important because it creates all of the energy and emotion in your videos. And like I said before, the more emotionally invested someone is, the more engaged they are. So spend a lot of time choosing the perfect music. When done right, music is the ultimate retention hack, but silence can be just as powerful. A harsh cut in the music catches the audience attention and makes what you're saying feel a lot more important. This also works great for highlighting comedic moments. But don't just cut the music in a random spot. The cut still needs to be smooth. Here's how to properly edit music. First, cut the song where needed. Then find a spot where a part of the song naturally ends. Cut this section and line it up where you need the music to cut, making sure to match the timing. Now, if the song ends abruptly, here's a little trick to make it sound a lot better. Cut the last hit of the song and create a new compound clip. Right-click and open a new timeline. Now extend the clip and create a volume keyframe to duck the audio to silence immediately after the last hit. Now head back to your main timeline and extend the clip out and add some reverb with a long decay time. This simple trick makes that harsh cut a lot more pleasing to the ear. Another simple trick is to slowly fade the music out. This tells the viewer that the segment is coming to an end and makes them anticipate for something new coming up. Now, let's get a bit more advanced. Right here, I'm introducing a problem with something, so the music is slower and more mysterious. Then right here, I'm telling the solution, so the music picks up and becomes more energetic. Now, you're probably thinking, you would need 2 different songs to pull that off, right? Wrong. With platforms like Epidemic Sound, you're able to download the songs in the form of stems. So for the problem segment, you can use the slower elements like strings or plucks to create that mysterious feeling. And as soon as the solution comes in, you can introduce elements like the drums and bass to create more energy and excitement, all while sticking with the same song. This video just covers a small but incredibly important part of the editing process. If you want to learn some more advanced editing techniques, click right here and make sure to subscribe.